Hello and welcome. So Google is always adding new features to things like Google Docs and Google Sheets and so on and so forth, but they don't always do a great job of letting everybody know about what they've added. So tonight we're going to talk about my 3 favorite new helpful features that they've recently added to Google Docs. One in particular literally made me happy because I've been wanting it for so long. So what do you say? Let's get started, shall we? And yes, I know, go ahead and mock me, but like these things make me happy. All right, so like I said, Google's always adding new features, which is great. I don't know why they keep them such a secret, but they are adding all new features all the time to things like Google Docs and Google Sheets and all that. So we're going to focus on Google Docs tonight because between May and June, so it's June 2022 when I'm recording this, they've added several new things that, frankly, I've been waiting for. So I thought I would share the love with everybody. Also, I do want to just upfront warn you that these things are only guaranteed to work with the Chrome browser. Now, that said, little birds have told me that some, maybe all even, of the Chromium-based browsers may also be able to do some or all of these. And over time, even more so. So for anybody who doesn't know, we're getting a little bit into the geeky weeds here, but just for those of us who talk this language here, Chromium is the free and open sourced browser project, which is mostly controlled by Google. So because of that, as a byproduct of that, it has a lot of the Google Chrome code in it. Not all, but a lot. So that's why there's a lot of overlap sometimes with some of the features that are released, because while it may be built for Chrome, that may mean it also works with Chromium. For those of you who are not familiar with that idea, so things like the Vivaldi browser, Opera, Brave, those are Chromium-based browsers, just in case you were curious. There's other ones. It's quite an extensive list, but those are the ones that most people would know about. All right, so we're going to talk specifically about my favorites because, hey, why not? And I'm now looping. I did just mention that they will work with Chrome, maybe the others. Okay, sorry. Little brain reset there. Okay, so this is one that, frankly, has been driving me nuts because I've been automatically doing it ever since I started working in Drive, but it didn't work before. And that is, you can now copy and paste using your keyboard inside of Google Drives. So yes, there were ways to do it. And you know what, let's just switch right over to the other screen here. Let's take that down. So yes, you could go in and, you could click on something and you could right click. And where is it? I could never even freaking find it. So you could do the move to, and then you could fight your way through this to do it. So it's not that you could not do this. It's just, it's so much easier now. So just as a quick example, so I have this meeting folder that I set up because I'm starting to get a lot of meeting notes in here. This is not a Drive I use a lot. This is actually just my demo. But it's got a lot of meeting stuff in here. So let's say that I've decided that, you know what, I want to move my meeting notes and all things related to meetings into a folder so that they're in one place to make it easier to find. So you just come down and you pick whichever one you want to do, and you can do Control-C if you want to leave the original here and put a copy in the folder, or you can do, let me just go to here because that's what I'm going to do first, is Control-X, double check that, yes, Control-X, and you see it's cut it to the clipboard, and now I can come up to meetings and go into that folder, come on, and I can paste it, and boom, you get a little message down here that says, hey, your meeting template has been moved into the meeting folder. And this is going to make my life a whole lot easier as I'm going through and trying to do the right thing by staying organized and getting all the stuff where it needs to be there, because I am a big fan of keyboard shortcuts or, programming my X keys or my loop deck to do these kinds of things quickly for me. And all the extra steps I had to do before with the right click and digging through and finding the right place, done. I don't have to do that anymore because now this works. And it just makes life so much easier. Now, I do want to bring up, so let me make sure I bring up the first one first. The first time you go in to do this, you may see an error message somewhere along the lines of this, right? That's basically telling you that you haven't given your browser permission to do these things. And it's not a big deal, except for the fact that the learn more is useless. They really dropped the ball on this one. If you go to learn more, all it tells you is that you need permissions. It doesn't tell you how. So what you're going to do is you're going to go up into the address line, right? And you're going to look, let me get my little drawing tool. And you're going to look for your little lock icon. And you're going to click on that. And then you're going to come down here and you're going to look for different permissions. Now, in some cases, the permission you're looking for will show up right here. If not, then you're going to go into the site settings and you can go ahead and find the right control in there. It's very clear. It says something specifically about using the clipboard. Depending on the different versions of things that you're using, this pattern may be a little bit different, but that is the basic place that you're going to go look. So you're just going to go here and either do this clipboard option that's right here. Okay, so this is before I turned it on. So you're just going to move this little thing over. But if you don't see this option, you don't have to panic because it is still available to you. It's probably just going to be under site settings, and you might just have to go and do the search inside of site settings. Say that 3 times fast in order to access it. So that's your first extra tip for this session. I'm sure there'll be a few because, that's how I roll. All right, let me just get this set up for the next one. Okay, so in addition to the loveliness, which is that, you're able to now set up custom folder colors. Now, this is one of those things that, by the way, the previous one is the one that made me happy. Like that, I've been waiting for that for so long. I have submitted my fair number of tickets to support about it because it's like, please, please, please. Show some love to those of us who use the keyboard. But this one is also right up there for me because while setting a custom folder color may sound like a fairly trivial thing to a lot of people, when you start to have a lot of different folders, it really does help make it easier for your eye to pick things out. So we're going to come back over here. And let me take this down. We'll probably need this. So let's come back. In case you don't know how to do this or you have never done folders before, you come up here to the little new, and this is where you can set up all the new stuff. So you can say new folder. Okay, and so let's say I'm going to set one up now for my images. Now this could be, client notes, like it could be whatever you want it to be. But for the purposes that I've got here, we're going to do that. And I'm going to come in and grab a couple of things to put in here. So here, these are, actually this is good. Yeah, we'll do all of these if we can. All right, and then I'm going to do Control X, right? And see, now I've multi-selected, right? 6 items cut. And then if I go into folders and then I Control V, boom. Oh, by the way, this does work on Mac as well. Obviously, you just use your Mac keyboard shortcuts. So here we go, and I've got these all in here, which is great. Now, okay, granted, I only have 2 folders at this point, but as you add more and more, it makes it easier if you can color code and use colors that works for you. So let's say for me, like, meetings are kind of a gray thing in general. So I'm going to leave it gray, but maybe for my images, I want something with a little more pizzazz. So you're going to come in here and you're just going to click on the folder that you want to change, and you're going to come down to change color, and you're going to pick one of the default colors here. So let's see, what's a good color for images? Maybe this little purple here. There we go. Oh, I did the wrong one. No, this is, meetings should stay gray. I wanted to do this one. This needs a little pizzazz. So there we go. So that just helps it stand out a little bit. And when you get into like nested folders and you get a lot more folders, having them color coded like that does make it easier for your eye to see those kinds of things. Because your eye is drawn to different colors, and over time, especially when you're the one setting it up, your brain will just automatically map to it, because that's a benefit, because we recognize colors and pictures faster than we can read and process words. So while putting labels on them is very important, and you want to do that, but your brain is going to move faster if you're able to do some of this visual stuff. So that is just another win. By the way, I always forget to do this. But for those of you who are new here, my name is Kathleen, and I'm here as your tech coach. Pretty obvious, right? Name of the channel. The story behind why I'm doing this is because technology is my day gig and it's also my hobby. So over time, my friends, family, neighbors all have come to me when they've had questions, problems, when they're looking for advice about technology. And over time, that has morphed into me helping coworkers and then my friends, family, neighbors, coworkers and friends and family. So it's become sort of a pyramid thing, I guess, or dominoes. Dominoes is probably a better way to go there, which led me to understand that not everybody has somebody to talk to about this kind of stuff. So you are always welcome to come here, hang out. I always bring a topic every Thursday, but you are always welcome to go to the website and let me know if you have a question, if you have a topic you want me to cover. If you need faster help, you can certainly go and ask for it there. Just make sure you give me an email address so I can get back in touch with you. So that's the history of why we're here. All right, so let's get back to the topic, which is a good one. All righty, so yeah, and by the way, people who see you doing this are going to be impressed because, like I said, this has not been broadly announced anywhere. Silly. So you're going to very quickly look like a power user, even if you don't feel like you are. You'd be surprised, right? Okay, let's get to the other one. Now, it was a hard choice for me between whether the copy paste or this one was my number one. And copy paste edged this one out by this much because I run into the copy paste thing 100,000 times a day. This one is probably 50,000 times a day. And that is seeing file locations, right? So we all know, like, Google is awesome at searches. And that's a good thing, right? That makes our lives a lot easier. But when you start to get a lot of files, and like I said, this is pretty minimal because this is just a demo setup, but you start filling up your Google Drive, you very quickly end up with hundreds of thousands of files. And then you go to try to find something, you're like, well, did I put that here? Did I put that there? And I don't remember, or did I move it? And so we all end up just going up here and searching for things, right? And that's always worked. So let's just try, maybe if I could spell, that would help. Right, and so you get your search results and be okay. You would find the file, but you still wouldn't know where it was, right? Google was giving it to you, but it was still kind of keeping it a secret. Well, now there's two things that it's given us. One is over here, we've got this location thing, which was there, but it didn't have this cool hover thing. So I don't know if I can draw and do this. Okay, I'll draw to show you where to watch, okay? And then I'll actually do the thing. Okay, so if you hover here, you can see that this is under my drive and it's in the images folder. So now I know exactly where it is, which when you're trying to hunt something down for somebody, or you're looking and you've got multiple versions of things and you're trying to identify which is which, this is a lifesaver. And the nice thing is this is something you can navigate. So you can actually go back with this to your beginning. So let me do that again. Well, actually, let's do it with the other one. Let's do, well, I think I only put one file in there. Hang on, let's put something else into the meetings folder. Actually, you know what? I'll show you, let me show you the copy. So I've been doing the Control X, right, to cut it. But let's say, you know, I want to do a copy. So I'm going to do item copy to clipboard, go into meetings. Oh, I did put a couple in here. Okay. And then in here, it's creating a copy of the original. So this is now a copy, but I still have the original here, which is great if you're like, because this is a template, that would make sense because you'd want to reuse the template. So now if I come up here and I search for meeting, 2 at ease, still, I'm sure. Okay. So, you know, I've got the original ones in the source drive, right? And then I've got the folder that's got these other files in it. So in addition to this hover thing over the location, which is all kinds of wonderful and made me very happy, you can also just click on the row and then it shows you the path down here. Seriously, I know it's a geeky thing, but this is making me so happy and it's saving me so much time and aggravation because I work with a lot of client Google Drives and Google Docs in particular. And people lose track of things and then they've copied them places and they forgot where they were. And we've got like now 6 different versions of it. And I have to go and reconcile them all and bring them all back in line. This is a huge lifesaver because I can see right away, okay, yeah, there's 5 versions of this. And look, this one is here and this one is here. And it just makes my life so much easier because now I don't have to guess all the time. I can go in and I can find them and I see exactly where they are. And very often this helps me figure out because I don't necessarily, have direct visibility into everybody's personal drives, but at least I can kind of start to figure out what's landed where. And that also helps explain why certain clients can't find things. Does this sound like a recent problem I've had? Yes. Yes, it has. This was absolutely a big nightmare a couple of weeks ago for a client who has a completely remote team, which is lovely. But they had brought on some new people and some things were not communicated. And we had documents that were just all different and pointing in all different places. And so it took me about 2 days to hunt everything down and then reconcile everything back into one document. But, we did it. It just wasn't great fun for me. So, yes, this is definitely something that is going to save me a lot of time and aggravation. And I've showed them so that they can hopefully also catch themselves before this gets too far out of hand, because that's why they brought me in, because it just gotten completely bonkers. And, life is too short for that. So, I'm just checking my notes, making sure I covered everything. Yes. Okay. So, oh, and by the way, just because they did not know this, so I'm just going to share this with you as another extra little tip. When you do a search, like I was just showing you, that will look in your recents, your starred, your trash, your folders. So you can view the location of anything. So if somebody has inadvertently put something in the trash, you'll still be able to go and resurrect it as long as it hasn't been in there for too long. And again, all of this stuff, Mac and Windows, just the keyboard shortcuts are different. So there we go. Alrighty. Before we go into the next one, where we go? Just going to remind you that if, and I'm sure you do, we all have to create content on some level, and we all get that block, looking at the cursor, dancing on the page and not coming up with an idea. Life is too short for that much stress. So I made myself a list. It is also your list. So go to yourtechcoach.net or .com. That works too now. So yourtechcoach.net/content ideas. Just put in your email address, and that way you will get the document it's a PDF of 130 content ideas. They are not tech specific, but they make life so much easier, because when you can't come up with that idea, but the deadline is looming, you just go pick a random topic and boom, there you go. You're off to the races and you can go ahead and do it. I literally lay the pages out, shuffle them, close my eyes, and let my finger pick one at random. And that way there's no stress involved. So please, no cost, just go ahead. It's all about reducing stress. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so this one takes a little bit of an explanation just for context. You can create a shortcut to a file or a folder. Now, most of the things that I've shown you as far as moving things around with the keyboard controls, those are just right now for files. I would expect to see them for folders at some point, but right now those are just files. Changing the colors, that kind of stuff, that was for the files. This particular thing is for both. But I find that when I tell people about it, they're like, until I give them the context. So again, think about it this way, right? I work with a lot of different clients. And sometimes, you've got, maybe as the business owner, or maybe I've got as the contract person, I've got a directory structure that works for me. You have a directory structure that works for you. However, maybe you need to share documents from a couple of different places, but you don't want to have to move them into a different folder just so that you can give that restricted access to them. Now, you could share those individual files with people, but then they've got to keep track of the links. And I can tell you, and I'm sure you already know, that never works because they lose track of the links. So what you want to do is you want to go in, and we'll start first by creating let me go back to the beginning here. We'll create another folder, right? And so we'll say, my team. Okay. And what the heck, we're playing with colors tonight, so let's give it a cool color. Let's make it green, right? Because the team is making money. All right, so the idea is that you've created this, and you're going to give your team access to this, right? So if you right-click on this and you do the share or the get link, which is kind of the same thing, you can choose to give them just view access. Well, here, I'll show you. You can give just view access, or you can give edit, right? So you have all these controls on it. So let's say anyone with the link can view, or they can comment, or they can edit, right? So view means they can just look at it. Comment means they can add comments to the file, which is really helpful when you're working with teammates or clients or contractors. The door swings both ways. Or if you give them editor access, they can go ahead and work in that file. So this is a good way to just centralize things. Again, this is sort of a secondary tip, but it leads to the next big tip. And that is that you can create shortcuts to multiple files. So let's say for whatever reason, okay, maybe I want to make this project proposal something that the team can view, but I want to keep it here because this is something I'm working on a lot, right? So I'm going to come here and you're going to do, and I always have to look at this. So from the keyboard, you're going to do Control, Shift, and V, okay? And that's going to create this shortcut. And then you can come up to the team. Let's see if this works, or did it? Well, let's see, and do Control V. Copy me, nope, that's not the way to do that. Let's make that go away. It must have put the copy here. Okay, so it put the, oh, okay, so here, you see here, this is really brand new. So what it did was when I made the shortcut, it created a copy of it. Well, it created the shortcut, and you can see on the icon, it's got that little arrow on it. Let me take this off. That would make it easier to see. So that is what we're going to want to move. Get my thing back. So now I'm going to come here and do Control X and put this in here. Why am I... I'm hitting the wrong keys. Let me try this again. I'm going to get this to work. This. Control X. Cut item to clipboard. Okay, I finally got it right. Okay, and then I'm going to come here. And it's going to verify that you want people to be able to see this because I already shared it. And so now this is a copy, a link. Let me be specific. This is a shortcut link to my original file. So when they open this, they're going to open this original file, or which one was it? This one, whichever file I just did. So whatever changes I make in here, they're going to automatically see, and they can still work with the file, but it's all still where I need it to be for my organization structure. So let's take it to the next step. Let's say that I want them to get this also. So again, that is Control, Shift, and V. Okay, and then it created this shortcut, and then I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to put it in this team folder. And now they have two shortcuts. Oh, I did the same one twice. All right, well, you get the idea. So this is a super handy way to give people access to the things that they need while still maintaining your organization structure and not having to worry about them losing links or not having the right link or whatever. So it serves a lot of different purposes, but it's one of those things that just makes life so much easier. And now it's a shortcut. You could do this before by right-clicking on it and doing, here, I can show you how to do that in case you're curious. But this is something else that you could always, whoops, hello, there we go. Let's go back. So okay, so let's go do it with the project proposal. The old way to do this, which still works, is you could come in here and you would go add to drive. These things are never where I want them to be. Here we go, add shortcut to drive. And then you could walk your way through it. So if this works better for your brain, everybody's brain works differently. This is still an option. Oh, what's the problem? It looks like maybe my page needs to be, there we go. And then you get the little add shortcut. And so that method still works. We'll go here and then you'll see the proposal one. And you see all of these with this little arrow kind of at a curve pointing up are shortcuts. So whatever you do here, they see whatever, and when they click on it, they're actually opening this file. It's not a copy of this file, it's this file. But instead of you having to keep track of everything, you can just give everybody you want access to that folder. They can go ahead and shortcut that folder for themselves wherever they like and be good to go. So there's that. And we did, by the way, but I'll just show you real quick. And anytime you want to remove something, so let me go back here. So let's say for some reason you decided, yeah, you know what? I don't want them to have access to this one. You can just come in and hit delete on your keyboard, or you can, right click on it and do the remove, or you can come up here and click on the little trash can. So you have total control over this. You you give them access to things that you want, and you don't give them access to things you don't want, and they're always in the same spot, which makes training people to go to the right spot a whole lot easier. Alrighty, so that is what I have for you. Let's see, how much time has it been? Maybe we can do... Nah, we'll save this for another one. I always find other things as I go along there, but there we go. Hey, Jason, how you doing? Good to see you. That is very kind of you, John. Thank you very much. It's been kind of a bumpy day, so I appreciate that more than you could possibly know right now. Thank you, thank you. I love technology, and I want people to get the most value from it. So these little things, I think, I hope are helpful. It's the kind of thing that, one is maybe not going to change the world, but when you get a couple of these and make them an automatic part of your workflow, they can make everything a lot easier for you. And that's always my goal, because I say this all the time, technology should work for us, not the other way around. And some days it feels like certain development teams think it should be the other way around. But no. Technology is supposed to help our lives. And these little things just smooth things out a little bit as you go through. So thank you very much for that. I do appreciate that. And welcome, Jason. It's always good to see you. All right. So that is what I have for you. As I said before, I do the show every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I always bring a topic. You are always welcome to come, hang out in the chat, ask other questions. And if you have something else that you would like me to talk about, you can just go to the URL and fill out the form and let me know that. That's where some of the best shows come from, to be perfectly honest, is people's questions or real life stuff like I ran into a couple of weeks ago, because that does happen a lot. But, that's the thing. Anytime you run into a problem with technology, people start apologizing. When people come to me to ask a question, they start with an apology. And I'm always like, please don't apologize. It's not your fault. Nobody's born knowing this stuff. It just so happens it's my thing. But when I have a problem with the plumbing, I don't apologize to the plumber. I call and say, please come. It's the same kind of thing, right? So I'm happy to be able to help anybody out and share the tips that I find are useful for me or my clients. And that's what it's all about. And I had another thought, but it's flown away. So that's okay. We'll save that for another day too. I hope that you're having a good week. Some of you may be starting your weekend early now that we're into the summer. If you are watching this on replay and you have any questions or comments or thoughts you want to share, go ahead and put those in the comments wherever you're watching, and I will certainly get back to you as soon as I can. I'm a little bit behind, but I plan to get caught up this weekend. A big project just finished today, so I should actually be able to breathe a little bit this weekend. Also, if you're looking for just general more information about Google Docs, check out the description for this video. I put that there, and I also put the contact for the support team for Google Docs, because, hey, we all need support sometimes. All right, everybody, have a good one. We will talk again soon. Bye.